And we're back with round 3 here at the Ript Zone in Milledgeville, Georgia for MindBreak Magic cEDH Take 2 Electric Boogaloo. If you're just joining us, again, a round 3 here of our Saturday event. We have a great pod for you. Right now we have Nathaniel in seat 1 on Ript. That will be a Bloodstained Mire and a pass. Looks like a Mana Confluence and a Soul Ring from Rain in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen on Ob Nixilis, Captive Kingpin. Passing on over up to Caleb in the top left on cEDH. We'll play a Bayou and a Mana Vault. Looks like a pass of the turn. Over to Dustin in the top right on Kefka. This is our seat 1. All of these players have at least one win. Caleb has 2 wins. Coming into this, every other player has 1 win and 1 draw. So, high pointed table here. And it looks like we'll be fetching Bloodstained Mire and Arid Mesa. Arid Mesa was a land for turn from Dustin up in the top left. And let's talk a little bit about, since we're on Dustin's turn, let's talk about the Kefka play. As I mentioned, we saw Kefka in round 2. So if you haven't seen that and you're watching this on YouTube, please go back and give us a good watch on that. It was a great game. Kefka did manage to stick and sort of take over the game. So some very impressive play. And looks like it will be a Mana Vault again. And Ript will have fetched up the Surveil land. Dustin on his turn will go fetch into Volcanic Island, Mana Vault, Talisman, 1 floating, Talisman again, and an LED. 3 cards left in hand for our Kefka player, and pass over for the first turn 2 of the turn cycle. Back to Ript. Here's a Mox Diamond, discard land. 2 mana for a Felwar Stone. And it looks like a Dark Ritual into Necropotence will be the sequence of events here. So I can go up to 7, so I believe 4 life. That leaves 3 left in hand. See if they count. And it'll be some discarding. So Ript, certainly a more obscure commander. 2 white and a black for a 3/3 Vigilance Ward. Other zombies have Vigilance, but whenever a legendary creature you control dies, make a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and is a 2/2 zombie. So some good graveyard combo interaction this deck can have. Won a big event a few months ago. So definitely not a deck to be underestimated. Nixus will play the commander untap land. It's not Raucous Theater, that's the Surveil land. That might be Mount Doom. I think that's Mount Doom, actually. So there'll be Mount Doom in for that Ob Nixilis, and then there'll be an Ob Nixilis on the cast. Pass back over to Caleb, up in the top left on cEDH. And looks like here is a Savannah for a Smothering Tithe. We'll see what our cast of characters want to do in response to this. Looks like nothing. It'll be a pass of the turn. We'll see what 2 mana wants to be used potentially for the Smothering Tithe. Looks like 0 mana. So a treasure will be made. And it looks like we're just going to force out something here. Looks like it could be 5 mana for the Kefka. I'm not going to lie, you really don't play LED in the Kefka deck to not just cast Kefka on turn 2. So The Omnixilus will have exiled that card off of Dustin losing exactly 1 life. Looks like the Kefka is gonna hit the board. So 3 cards, so instant, creature, and sorcery. And Archivist, Diabolic Intent, maybe? And Strict Serenade. Looks like that'll just be a pass of the turn. We'll pass it on over to Nathaniel back on Radravik, bottom right hand corner. We'll see a land. We'll see everyone's favorite Sheriff, Lotho. And we'll see what else wants to happen with 2 more mana. Arcane Signet. Treasure is made here. Another 1 life was lost. So another card exiled with Omnixilus. And more 1 life at a time paying from Necropotence. We'll see how many times that needs to be activated here. And looks like that'll just be past the turn, so we'll go on over to Rain. Once again, Omnixilus. We got a handful of cards exiled here off of the triggered ability. So those 4 cards, are able to be played this turn. And looks like no one has continued to pay the cost here for the Smothering Ties. So 5 treasures on the board of our Sisay player. So we'll make some mana here. Looks like leaving 1 floating off the Soul Ring. And this new Spider-Man card that's out here. Shadow of the Goblin. 2 mana at the beginning of your first main. Discard if you do draw. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So it continues to loop the Omnixilus in order to chain cards off the top of the library. We'll see a Cabal Ritual. So currently not thresholded, but 3 black will be floating. And looks like a Vampiric Tutor in response from our Sisay player. Maybe something that just needs to be drawn. But a handful of cards here. Unstable Amulet is 1 card exiled from the Omnixilus. There's a Parasite, 1/1. Whenever an opponent draws a card, if you control a red permanent, you can deal 1 damage to that player. So a lot of key Omnixilus cards to just continue to deal the exact 1 damage. Handful of them exiled, able to be cast already off of Omnixilus. And looks like Emergent Zone is one of the exiled. Firebrand Archer, another. So a lot of enablers here, but I wouldn't say that there's many currently looking at what is around, there's not a whole lot of other things to do. There's just a whole lot of enablers, so not a lot of mana makers. So we're going to cast the Parasite. We're going to deal 1 damage to everybody once again. And this is really the strength of Ob Nixilis here. Just kind of being able to get under everybody, especially if you can land that early Ob Nixilis. So land for turn. We'll trigger the Shadow of the Goblin. We'll exile another card. It's like a Goblin Engineer. That will certainly continue to enable. Make sure that we're clear. The first 2 cards in that pile can only be played until the end of this turn. So Goblin Engineer can return a CMC 3 or less artifact. There's a handful, but if there's a breach in hand, LED's a pretty good one. And we'll see what the table wants to do about this here. There's also a trigger on the stack for the Shadow of the Goblin, with the on top of the Goblin Engineer. Again, maybe because there has not really been a lot of mana exiled off the top, maybe it would be something more relevant in mana to go get. You can't bring back a Bolas Citadel, but you can bring back a Mana Vault or Soul Ring, Lotus Petal. I mean, LED is another one of those effects, right? Especially if you're chaining off the top. You don't necessarily need to keep a million cards in hand, so... Looks like Tybalt's Trickery will be the exiled off the trigger. And then Goblin Engineer will enter. Or maybe that is still on the stack here. Looks like there's a... Well, that's the opposition agent alternate art, actually. So that was what was played over there by our Rhydodravik player. And looks like that was probably a Deadly Rollick trying to kill the opposition agent. Seething Song. So that's a good one to hit here. Not a whole lot of mana available to start the chain, but a whole lot to continue off if it gets back around the turn cycle for our Ob Nixilis player. So Tutor, again, that Tutor was on the stack when the opposition agent was played. Let's see. Like I said, LED is a good one to bring in this situation, especially if Breach is already in hand. But looks like it will be Hangerback, or not Hangerback. Walking Ballista. Looks like it is. So if you could make a Walking Ballista for a lot, it does let you see a lot of cards. Vexing Bauble with the last in play. So I don't know if this is a value Vexing Bauble, but hopefully this doesn't backfire with rain. It will have to go around the entire turn cycle to make it back to the board. Handful of counters on this Obnixilis will be swinging in. Potentially swinging at Caleb on cEDH up in the top left. Looks like it will. That is quite a lot of damage. So we got something before damage. It'll be 16. So this Obnixilis is almost a one-hit kill. Let's kind of listen to our players, see what they're talking about. So we're going to see 5 triggers and necropotents go on the stack. And we'll try to be 5 counters put on the Obnixilis, which will be lethal to our cEDH player. Here comes Demonic Consultation. I didn't quite hear what was named, what the name card was, but kind of looking for anything here in order to save the day. Otherwise, this is lethal attack, assisted by Nathaniel, paying life from necropotents. And I think I misspoke earlier, all these cards will go away at the end step. Obnixilis does say until your next end step, not until the end of your next turn. So all of these cards that have been exiled with Obnixilis will in fact go away this turn. So maybe not the worst case scenario that only one kind of ritual effect was wasted this turn in the Seething Song. A lot still left in the deck, a lot left to reload next turn, even if this Obnixilis does get dealt with here. Sword's last card in the deck. So exiled the whole library off the name Swords to Plowshares. That's kind of insane if you think about it. Couldn't have planned it better, I guess, for the opponents. So a handful of cards, a few lands among them will be exiled with Obnixilis. Wow, incredibly unlucky for Caleb here on cEDH, not being able to find an answer until the last card in the deck. Looks like that'll be 21 damage, and we'll get a kill of commander damage on camera. Knock that one off your bingo board. And that'll be it for combat. Caleb, out of here. cEDH, no creatures. Off the board. Punished for the Smothering Tithe. You'll love to see it. And it looks like a handful more cards. Looks like 5 more cards exiled on the end step. Or, sorry, probably in post-combat main for Nathaniel on Ratadrapic with the Necropotents in play. 5 more cards exiled off of the out of the deck of our Ob Nixilis player, who's currently the active player. And looks like that'll be gone. All those cards will stay in exile, and we'll pass on over to Dustin. Yep, so 2 damage, 2 cards exiled from both the Parasite and the Ob Nixilis. Kefka's going to get in here on attacks. We'll have an attack trigger. Everyone will discard a card. One player out of the game makes it slightly worse for our Kefka player, but certainly a lot of cards in hand from our other players. Probably, hopefully, some collusion if they can do anything. It looks like that might have been a Boromir, but Grinding Station and Mockingbird were the other 2. So drawing 2 cards, losing 2, or taking 2 damage from the Parasite, exiling 2 cards from the Ob Nixilis. And this Ob Nixilis train is rolling. If Kefka cannot get this under control, both from the Necropotence and the Ob Nixilis, this presents a very large threat. Only 3 mana available from our Kefka player. Don't really want to lose 20 plus life off of a Toxic Deluge here. But there are a handful of things they can do. Vexing Bobble does make it a little bit more difficult to interact on the stack. The only blue player remaining in this pod here. And we'll see, could be 2 mana here for some sort of tutor effect. 1 damage off the Talisman. More rituals exiled. Looks like it will be a Demonic Tutor. Nailed that one. Demonic Tutor in a hand. If I were to take a guess, maybe a Chain of Vapor or another 1 mana bounce spell will be the grab. Maybe the fish one into the maw. And Ob Nixilis is able to come back down next turn, but unless there is a land, which there might have been a land exiled, it's a little hard to tell, but if there's a land exiled, it could be just, land for turn, play Ob Nixilis back out, but nothing else doing. So that does give Kefka more time. But how much more time is there with the Ratadravik looking at 1,000,000 cards every single turn? Looks like it will be a grab of the Demonic Tutor and a pass of the turn. That's going to be all. Pass over to Ratadravik. Down there in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, this is the first turn 4 of the turn cycle. These turns have gone pretty quick. We've had a very exciting game. I already had 1 player lose his entire library to a Demonic Tutor. That was not on purpose. Sword to Plowshare being the last card in the deck. And it looks like we'll grab... that could have been... I didn't see the card quick enough, so... could have been an Animate Dead of some variety. Grabbing a Emeritus of Ideation. And it looks like Golem will come out after that. I'm going to pay a few more cards, or a few more life for a few more cards. So going to clean up here, discarding a handful of things, reanimate among them, potentially not. Looks like Dustin has some sort of response, probably the 1 mana bounce spell here, and it will be in fact into the Floodmaw. 1 damage, exiling Razorkin Needlehead. And that into the Floodmaw will fully resolve here. So there is some time. I'm pretty sure. I'm not. I'm not entirely sure, but if I were to take a guess, those cards can still be played until the end of Rain's next turn or Ob Nixilis player. So, not too familiar with Ob Nixilis here and um, how sticky that exile is. But just from reading the card, it seems to me that they will be able to play cards from exile. So we'll just see where it goes from here. That'll be it on Radadravic's turn. A bunch of irrelevant cards discarded here. We'll focus on the cards left in hand. We'll go to Ob Nixilis' turn, the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. The second turn of the turn 4 turn cycle. Try saying that 5 times fast. And we're thinking. Looks like no land. I personally feel like if there was a land here, it would be very worth it. In order to just recast Ob Nixilis and try to reload. Make the blue player kind of contain the Necropotence player for a turn cycle and hope to explode on your turn. I'm not sure if there's anything immediately more valuable in the hands. Looks like it will be an Ob Nixilis. But with the 1 mana available, not a whole lot to do. And here comes 1 mana for Imperial Seal. So Imperial Seal will hit the stack. Free counter spells will be countered. Looks like Nathaniel trying to think about maybe thinking about removing the Ob Nixilis again. Oh, maybe a cast Ancestral Recall off of the Emeritus of Ideation. That could be the move here. And Ancestral Recall will target not yourself. I'm losing my mind with this game. This is insane. We've had a Demonic Consultation name a card that was on the bottom of the deck, named a card that was in the deck and was on the bottom, legally lost to commander damage. We're having an Emeritus of Ideation in play on a non-blue player, and then Ancestral Recall targeting the owner of that card. Now, right now on the stack, potentially, looks like we can't do the Mental Misstep because it will be countered by the Vexing Bauble. And the Parasite will deal 3 damage to our Kefka player, exiling 3 cards off of Ob Nixilis. And finally, the Imperial Seal has resolved. This game has been all over the place. I'm not sure what hope Dustin has here on Kefka to turn the corner. Both of our non-blue players are definitely putting themselves in winning positions. And the life lost already with the Necropotence will certainly make it a lot easier for Omnixilis to just load up and kill Nathaniel, our Ratadravic player in the bottom right. Looks like card is found from the Imperial Seal, so we'll do that, put it on top, lose 2 life. Looks like it'll be a pass the turn. 1 card in hand. If there's a card in hand, or if there's a thing to do in hand, it would behoove our Omnixilis player to play that card. That's just a free card to be discarded with Kefka when Kefka attacks on the turn. Potentially a 3rd card to grind back into this game. Also, can we just take a second to say not only was Ancestral Recall cast, also again on camera, but it was cast targeting not the player who cast it. Pass of the turn, Agatha Soul Cauldron was the tutored card. Plus land here. As we'll go to Dustin's turn, he will take 1 damage from the Mana Vault, leading to an Omnixilis trigger. Draw 1 card, leading to another Omnixilis trigger. Off of the Parasite from the Omnixilis player's board state. Here comes Kefka, attack. Looks like artifact, creature. It might have been a Casey Jones from the TMNT set. 2 damage off of drawing 2 cards. Redirect Lightning and Polluted Delta. One life for a gamble. There are 6 or 7 cards in the hand right now of our Kefka player. So, pretty good chance for the gamble. I think Breach is probably just the correct play here, right? There's already a Lion's Eye Diamond in the graveyard. Demonic Tutor. Yep, Demonic Tutor would do it. Demonic Tutor would... LED would discard a lot of cards. Leading to you being able to buy back Lion's Eye Diamond. Oh, well, you can't. You have to get rid of that Vexing Bauble first. A real sticky situation here. Although Underworld Breach into dealing with the Vexing Bauble, potentially from the Into the Floodmaw, there's enough. There would have to be a land or some other mana source in order to grant that the ability to cast it. Looks like maybe a Phantasmal Image was discarded. Do not guess that that is the card. Looks like land, so maybe it's happening. Maybe it is happening. The Into the Floodmaw recast off the Breach. So it'll be 2 mana Breach, 1 mana Into the Floodmaw, bounce the Vexing Bauble. 0 mana LED. There's at least 6 cards in the graveyard. Oh, hey, we might just do it the hard way. You know what? Maybe I'm just thinking too hard about this. It's just going to be Nasus Oracle Demonic Consultation. And it looks like that'll be the game. I mean, when you have a blue player casting blue cards and non-blue players are tapped out, no ability to interact with their limited resources, cards printed. That's just going to be the game. So I was thinking into it a little too deeply, but we'll still get there. Our Kefka player, Dustin, will take 2 rounds on camera in a row, no less, with just a hard cast, Nasus Oracle, and Demonic Consultation. Again, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. We are at the Ript Zone in Milledgeville, Georgia. This is MindBreak Magic Take 2 Electric Boogaloo, our cEDH event here, brought to you by the Ript Zone. So we're very thankful to be here at this spot. in Milledgeville, a very welcoming spot. We thank you, all of our players who showed up and made this a great tournament so far, and everyone watching and contributing behind the scenes. Anyone watching from their computer on YouTube, whatever the case is. We thank you guys for being here. We're all done with round 3 as Kefka will take it down, which is just your classic Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation, and we will see you guys in round 4.